Zero here for Umbra Games with a review of Pokemon Legends Arceus, developed by Game Freak, published by Nintendo, and released January 28th, 2022, exclusively for Nintendo Switch. I personally have played some version of every one of what I would call core Pokemon games over the years. I say some version because I played Original Pearl back in the day, but didn't play the 2021 remake, and I played the remake of Generation 3 Sapphire, but didn't play the original back in the day. And by core, I think at this moment, most would probably define the core games as the ones that have the double or triple releases, Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, etc. Obviously with Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee sitting in a gray area for some. I've never been too much for the Pokemon spin-offs. I think I tried Pokemon Ranger and forced myself to finish it, and it was quite the struggle. I also am one that's never personally seen the charm of Pokemon Snap. So here comes Arceus, the single release and probably the biggest step forward in bringing a Pokemon game out of the retro handheld era and into something a little more modern. In Arceus, your Pokemon trainer falls through a space-time rift in the sky to an era where Pokemon were just being discovered and the people learning to cohabitate. The concept of a Pokeball is new, and you join up with the Team Galaxy's survey crew to start filling up the first Pokedex with creatures you encounter. In Arceus, you control your character in a third-person, over-the-shoulder view and navigate around a handful of pretty good-sized maps of various terrain types. When you see a Pokemon you want to catch in the wild, the best method is to sneak up behind them, and you throw a ball with type of your choice in real time. While you can lock on to them with the left trigger, if they're moving, it's easy to miss, so I found it much easier to move your reticle and do it manually. As with all Pokemon games ever, just because they go inside the ball doesn't mean they're going to stay. They may pop out. If you're hidden in tall grass and or far enough away when they break out, you have a chance to not be seen. Otherwise, depending on the Pokemon's attitude, they may bolt or send an attack. Attacks that hit you, the player, while confronting a Pokemon will start to color the edges of your screen if you're hit, going from black to red, and additional hits will make you black out, dropping some of your items and returning to base camp. You have a dodge ability that also provides some frames of invincibility to help you get out of the way. You can run away watching the eye at the top showing you if a Pokemon is chasing you, or you can instead pull out a Pokemon of your own. Select which one you want from the bottom right and throw that in the general direction of your attacker, and then you'll begin the standard turn-based battle. This is the most I choose you I've felt while playing a Pokemon game. You can also attempt to capture them in battle in the standard way, lowering their HP, and possibly throwing on some status effects and then throwing a ball to capture. The standard Pokemon elements are here of course, with the usual varieties, including the latest edition Fairy. Pokemon have the standard 4 moves equipped at once, but Arceus does give you a super convenient customizable interface to swap these abilities out as you get them from all abilities the Pokemon has learned. One new addition to the battles is once a Pokemon has mastered a move, they can perform it Agile style, slightly weaker but possibly enabling them to take a second turn sometimes sooner, or Strong style, piling on a bigger hit but your next turn comes later. And it's been a minute since I've played a Pokemon game, but it really seems like battles are over much quicker here. Even within 20 levels of something being stronger than you can wipe them out with a single super effective move. Fighting other people with Pokemon, they seem to almost always get the first turn. They seem to always possess a move that whatever I had out was weak to and would obliterate me first hit. Most definitely if we were of the same level. There were very few fights that would take more than 2 turns for some Pokemon to kill another, unless one was just healing. Which, I mean, I guess it's sort of fine, it made the battles go quicker, but it seemed a little bit off to me. The other major change with this game is the lack of opposing trainers. Since this takes place in a time before the relationships between people and Pokemon really formed, you're dealing mostly with just the wilds. So how do you get money, which usually came from beating trainers? Well, the Pokedex has turned into a major research guide. Every Pokemon in every stage of their evolution has a list of criteria for you to complete called research tasks. This is like Capture 25, but in stages. So for catching your first, task complete. Capture 4, task complete. 10, 15, 25. For beating them in battle, for seeing them perform certain moves, for them doing those moves in Agile style, for defeating them with their elemental weakness, etc. Once you've completed enough tasks to get 10 research points on a Pokemon, their entry in the dex is considered complete. Before you return to the village, you meet with Laventon and turn in your new finds, and you are rewarded with both cash and research points that count toward your star ranking with the guild. First 5 stars of 10 are necessary for game progression and also increase your monetary rewards gained from completing the research tasks. I did feel a bit of a squeeze on having enough Pokeballs handy, and with the ability to fast travel back to camp when I was exploring the world, I'd often just fast travel back there and heal instead of using potions. But the good news maybe, depending on your tendency toward crafting, is that you can gather materials in the wild and purchase and learn crafting recipes. Basic balls take a nut and a stone, with advanced balls requiring additional materials. So if you don't mind doing some farming laps here and there, throwing a ball with a Pokemon in it at rocks and trees, you're all set. Arceus, in addition to its couple dozen main missions, has side missions you can accept for people in town, near base camps, and sometimes finding settlements or other random stragglers. Quests are generally fetch in nature, or showing someone a completed Pokedex entry for a Pokemon of their choice. There are also some balloon popping races, or actually giving people requested Pokemon, sometimes with specific attributes. Once you finish the main quest line, credits will roll, but there, of course, are still some legendaries to catch. Each one is given an entry in your main quest log to check. There are a couple of harder fights, I use the term relatively, and then there's a final mission that requires you to actually complete the Pokedex, which I'll admit that's where I stopped. Searching every inch of terrain during day, night, and weather wasn't really appealing to me at the moment. I think of all the maps and areas in the game, there were only like 1 or 2 dungeon areas, so the world level design itself is pretty simple. You'll have water you need to cross and mountains to climb, for which you'll unlock traversal Pokemon through the main story, but that's pretty much it. Just giant open areas of differing altitudes. Really would have liked to see a few more internal dungeon-like areas. Visually, well, let's start with the Pokemon. While they are fairly low poly rendered and textured, the animation sets for the moves were varied and felt really good. The environments, well, I play on a docked, pretty sizable TV, and if you took away the sharp UI or character models and you were just looking at the environments alone, it's a little rough. Texture pop-in, grass, trees, and Pokemon pop-in are pretty poor. And sorry if it's a spoiler, but you gain flight at some point in the main quest, and if you start from a high place and kind of soar around, the game looks atrocious. The water texture pattern, well, most ground textures in general, are extremely low resolution and muddy. Which, I personally don't necessarily judge my enjoyment of a game by its graphics, especially as Nintendo first-party games try and focus on fun factor anyway. So, the new catching mechanics are a great addition, as well as the crafting system, and throwing the Pokemon-loaded ball you want to initiate battle. The quest system provides a lot of content, as does the new Pokedex research method. The world and level design are a little bit overly simplistic and lacking. Pokemon animations and attacks were improved from previous entries, but environmental textures and entity pop-in were pretty jarring. Overall, rated as a turn-based role-playing game, Pokemon Legends Arceus receives a 62 on my 0 to 100 scale, where 50 is an average game. This is Jiro from Umbra Games. Thanks for watching.